So what word should I use? Would you suggest? Okay.
Yes.
Insurance case, is that going to ever be?
I call the Washington County Board of Education meeting to order. If you would, please stand during our prayer led by Mr. Walters and our pledge led by Sophia Greer, our student board member from David Crockett, please.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for today. And God, as we look at your creation and the leaves that are painted and just the beautiful mountains and just, Lord, just to look in awe at your masterpiece. We thank you so much for it. God, we ask for your knowledge and wisdom tonight as we sit here and try our best to make decisions. Give us wisdom to make those decisions that will affect future generations, Lord. Help us to weigh every factor in our decision making. We love you. We praise you. We ask that you'll protect us all from sickness and harm. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, flip.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Okay, first on our agenda, we got the Gray Elementary students, the student leadership team. If y'all want to come up and present. Good looking bunch of students.
Good evening. We're the leadership team for Capturing Kids' Hearts at Grace School. Capturing Kids' Hearts is a social and emotional learning program. It's a process that helps students develop productive behaviors, build and maintain positive relationships, and set and achieve goals. Some of the benefits are to reduce social anxiety, growing personality, building relational capacity, applying classroom strategies, creating self-managing classrooms, and empowering student voice.
Hi, we are the student leadership team. This is Noah Odom. This is Abby Odom. This is Scarlett Klaus. This is Eli Mannering. And I'm Carter Turtle.
One thing we have at Grace School is the social contract. It is an agreement behavior form that all students sign. Below is the questions we ask students. Each classroom created their own social contract. One question we have is, how do you want to be treated by the teachers, which is supported, respected, and heard by the students? Another question is, how do you want to be treated by each other, which is the classmates, and that is respected and included.
The support chair. The support chair is used for emotional and social support while the students are presenting. If the student forgets or gets nervous, someone in those chairs helps through the situation. As you can see, we are modeling this as I speak. Here are a few pictures of the support chair at Grace School.
In the morning, every day, kids gather around to talk about the Capturing Kids' Hearts topic of the month. Then they share together what their topic is as a class group.
Here at Grace School, we have been shown empathy. We show empathy by understanding another person's experience by putting ourselves in their situation. We want to show compassion and understanding to one another.
One topic of Capturing Kids' Hearts is teamwork. When doing teamwork, the pressure is taken off of one person. Teamwork also spreads out the work evenly. When doing teamwork, you will know someone will help you if you have trouble. This is a picture of some students demonstrating teamwork at Grace School.
Here at Grace School, we have been doing self-direct. Self-direct is important for it allows you to engage in activities that are relevant, interesting, and fun. This can help lead to retention of information. This can be good because it helps yourself and others follow a good path. Here are some lead-worthy characteristics. Empathy to show kindness. Self-direct to lead yourself and others into a good path. Teamwork to spread the work out evenly and help when somebody's struggling. Responsibility to keep up with your stuff and other people's stuff. Respect to show teachers and adults in the school. Kindness to teachers, adults, and children that are in the school. Courage to tell somebody to never give up. Perseverance, never giving up. Integrity to do good things when nobody's watching.
Another thing we have is good things. Students share good things with classmates. Why? To show interest in the students. When? Once the social contract is in place. How? It shows respect whether or not we agree with the good thing. It doesn't have to be big to be good. What do you have to share with people?
One good thing is getting to do this presentation.
And another good thing is to be able to have the impact of Capturing Kids' Hearts at Grace School.
So, one thing we do at Grace School on Mondays is we have greeters who greet students into the school, which can help students feel acknowledged and can improve their day. And here's a video of a teacher showing how she greets some of her students. One thing that's important in Capturing Kids' Hearts is the final launch. We do this at the end of every class and every day. and I chose you are always responsible for how you act, no matter how you feel. Remember that. And here is a picture of the leadership team at grade school. Thank you for your time.
Good job. Okay, next on our agenda, we have the Lewis Group Architects here to update us, and we got Todd and Paul, Ginger, and Jake with us here tonight. Appreciate y'all coming back up again this month.
And certainly we understand everyone that was here to see the most important show tonight, the students. If you want to. You're welcome to stay.
Well, that cleared the room.
So we're obviously here tonight to talk about multiple different things. Is there a particular order that you want to go in?
It's up to you all.
Okay. I said we just go ahead and hit the nail on the head or bite off the cheek here and go ahead and talk about the bids that we got for security, or I should say bid. I can't say that plural. You know, this is something that we were obviously a little bit concerned about going into this project is having a number of bidders. I was having some conversations downstairs earlier, and something that we've seen over, especially even just over the last couple of weeks, but definitely over the last several months, you know, kind of what we've been talking about when we've been coming up here is we gotta get bidders, we gotta get bidders, we gotta get bidders, is that, you know, what we're starting to see, I think, across the board is that construction costs are somewhat, materials costs and those sort of things are somewhat leveling out. But what is not is the amount of work. And so what's driving costs these days right now is just simply competition and lack thereof. Let's say it that way, lack thereof, competition. We had another project in Knoxville. It was a addition and renovation that was bid the same day that these security upgrades did. So budget amount was about $21.5 million. And we had one bidder come to the table, and that bid came in a little under 23, 22, 21.8 or something, or 22.8, something like that. So even a project of that size, we're struggling to find contractors. I shouldn't say we do everything that we can, but in the bid market right now, owners are struggling to find competition, find contractors. And you would think a project like that, especially, is, you know, it was a little bit of it was a renovation, but it had a nice addition to it as well, some new construction. as to what is driving that cost, other than what I can say is that's the only bid that we had, lack of competition. Now, we don't have a schedule of values or anything to take a look at and see if there's anything in particular there, but, you know, just from, you know, we've updated you along the way as to, there's not a lot of design that, you know, goes into these types of projects. You know, there's a standard there that we like to meet when it comes to security, and I feel like that we've done a good job of meeting that. And so I think that, you know, there's probably maybe just a little bit more vetting to do, maybe, if the board chooses to do so, or discussion, obviously, that needs to take place. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. We have talked about internally some different items. You know, talk about, I think I wasn't here the day that they bid, but I know that Ginger was. And I know some things that came up. We're talking about, do we, you know, potentially rebid this project and break it up into, you know, maybe two separate projects, have multiple projects and things like that. And we can discuss all of that and tell you, you know, at least give some opinions maybe on some pros and cons to some of that kind of stuff, but without me kind of just throwing stuff out there. I'd rather, you know, maybe just answer some questions that you may have as well when it comes to that.
Mr. Upstone?
Do you have any feedback from any companies, construction companies, as to why they didn't, or what would need to be done to get them to become involved, such as only doing half of those projects? Any feedback from anybody?
I'll jump in there just because we knew that the other contractor that we thought up until the end was at least going to be a second bid is, they said they couldn't get an electrical sub number, which obviously would be a pretty big part of these projects, you know, but so, you know, it's not just the general contractors, right? We all know the subcontractors are busy too, and I mean, but that was their excuse as to why they, you know, bailed out really late. I mean,
And they were the
what we
contractor.
perceive as being very late.
They were the most responsive,
Yeah.
working with us and asking questions. And for them to drop out at the 11th hour was really surprising. But that just goes to speak with what Todd was talking about. There's so much work that they couldn't find an electrical contractor to even bid it, to get
And
a single number on
the
it.
only bid that we did, I mean, for those of you who have seen the bid tab, you know, and the subcontractors, so they were self-performing every bit of the work except for the masonry, right? So maybe that gives them a leg up, but, you know, I don't know. It's all kind of speculation kind of at this point, but, you know, we've seen that way too much here in the last year and a half to 2 years, where sometimes we get no bidders on jobs, you know, and we get one, and that one if you get that one, it's always going to be really high. The thing that really concerned me the most, and, you know, and again, like Todd said, without vetting it, I don't want to speak too much, you know. I mean, obviously we all need to be talking about this and figuring out what strategy we need to take. But, you know, even if you look at some of those that are your smaller kind of projects, kind of when like I say, I think we only got that about 3:30 or something today when we had asked about the breakdown. But some of those that are very small numbers, I mean, not very small numbers, but the smaller projects within the 11 schools is, you know, there's not a huge scope in those projects, and those numbers are I'll just say very honestly, they're really high, you know, for the amount of work. I mean, you're talking about we all know this, right? I mean, there's some that we're just doing some storefront, creating some vestibules and some film, and there's maybe a ceiling in the vestibule, right? I mean, that's
regional high school.
right. So we saw that on bid day because we know that one, because it was an alternate, was $150,000. That's a huge amount of money for
3 pieces of storefront and a new opening.
Mr. Urban?
yeah.
Well, how long is this bid good for? Till 30 days? Is that what the?
You know, these days, I don't think they're going to hold it for longer than 30 days, but was that qualified, or did we ask Rob or anybody?
It'd be in the bid form. I can get back to you
Yeah.
on that.
It's probably no more than 30
It's
days.
30 or 60. It's
Well,
probably 30.
I mean, my opinion, I'm in favor of rebidding it, breaking it down, and let's see what happens if we get some more people interested in it. But I don't like it's going with the one bid, and I think we need to get together and have them and go over this thing again. Think how
I hear you, and I can't disagree with that. And, you know, I think the other thing we talked about, the other bidder that pulled out in the 11th hour, right? I mean, if we did rebid it and we kind of got them back engaged and maybe that bid, now that drawings are all done, you know, and so it's just, you know, and maybe there's a combination of things. Maybe there are a few things that we could tweak, you know, that maybe it's not ideal, but maybe, you know, we know we have to balance cost, budget, and things like that. But even if we just straight up bid it again, the way the package is now, or at least the scope is now, to get them re-engaged and maybe, you know, give them an opportunity to get some commitments from electrical subs, if that was the one they had problems with, that could be a strategy, you know. There's a good chance we could come in with better bids. I guess there's always a risk that, you know, we all know how inflation is, right? Even just to go to the grocery store. I
Mr.
mean,
Cannon?
Were they each the same amount by square footage, or was some
They all
larger
vary.
price
They
by?
varied.
So what was the highest square footage?
The high square foot cost, we might have to do a little
No,
bit.
Tom's got it.
You got the square foot cost.
I think we need to.
Oh, square foot cost?
We
Yeah,
need to
which was the
let them
highest square
tell
foot
us,
cost by square foot?
And
We've got the overall number,
Meeting,
do that this square.
Yeah, I mean, there was one that was $620 a square foot.
That's,
Which now, that is the highest, right?
It could vary just a little bit because, and when I say a little bit, not a lot at all, but just because of, is it exactly 525 square feet or is it 580 square feet? Meaning the amount of area.
Right.
I will say this, these were difficult to estimate. We don't like to estimate anyway. We're architects, we're not contractors. But when we do, one thing we do is use historical numbers. And so we take an area, you know, if we're gonna estimate this room, we'll take the square footage of this room and we'll take a historical number and we'll simple math, right?
A recent,
Multiply that.
recent historical.
Yeah, take that number, multiply it by square footage, and there's, you know, ballpark estimate, right? Well, some of this was, you know, like Jake said, or Ginger, put a storefront glass right here. We weren't really touching anything else, but it was affecting square footage. So if anything, I thought our numbers might be actually a little bit high when we were originally estimating this, because it was difficult to say, well, how much is that exact storefront going to cost, and with this and that. So we just kind of said, okay, let's just take the square footage of the area that we're affecting and multiply that by a number, and it might be a little lower than that, you know, or.
We try to be conservative when
We
we're
did,
estimating because
absolutely.
we're not contractors, right? We don't want to tell you a number and then it be more.
So
Like
it's
we're doing
pretty
now.
surprising.
Mr. Riddle?
We always round up.
I'd like to, thing I'd like to do is to get the information per job, if you've got that information to break it down. And I think we should probably take a step back and look at everything we're doing, maybe get details, big drawings that we can see instead of up here. I'd like to look at something on paper, some big drawings and things, and let us just do a deep study on this. And then break it down and possibly look local for some vendors to do some of these smaller jobs. Like these storefront jobs, we could do the metal and the polycarbonate glass or whatever it is.
Film.
That film and stuff, and I know those storefronts, they won't be that big a deal. I mean, you bolt it down, you bolt it up, maybe a little ceiling, you put in some polycarbonate stuff, that should not be.
That's our conversations all morning about that,
It's,
right?
but I think we need to step back from this particular bid and maybe rethink what we're doing a little bit. And then potentially, Mr. Boyd, can we do that locally instead of bidding it all out or bidding by the job? Can we procure our own contractors to do things like that, or how does that work?
think we would still have to go through the competitive bid process.
Right.
So there's no, that was going to be my next question. There's no kind of minimum threshold that you don't have to bid it?
Well, the issue would be, I would think, and Mr. Hale can jump in, is, yes, there will be some projects, the $25,000 threshold, that this board has the authority to approve an amount up to $25,000 without a competitive bid.
Okay.
But I don't know of any of these projects that would be there based on the information you shared with me.
Sure.
But they could do that, but then when you start grouping, say, a bunch of $25,000 projects that are essentially the same work from a comptroller's lens, that is highly questionable.
Doesn't look good in an audit,
It
right?
looks like you're just breaking it up to avoid meeting the procurement laws.
Which is exactly what we'd be doing.
Well, you know that, they would say that that's not really appropriate.
I understand. It's not.
Well, is there a time to call you, Todd, or your group could maybe meet with us here soon to, like Mr. Riddle and Mr. Irvin said, we could meet as a board and go over it?
Yeah. I mean, the short answer to that is yes, we just need to figure out what the date is and, yeah, and just continue to strategize.
And I mean, we can do we can send that to you.
Maybe
You know,
send that to us
well,
earlier
but we
for
can
us to
also
review,
just sit
then
down
meet or something.
around the table and
Have a
look
strategy
at drawings and
That's what
talk.
I'd like to do.
We
Yeah,
can do that.
and
We
there
can
may
bring a
be
big
things,
set of drawings and look at that.
you know, we can look at it and, you know, other than just seeing a flash of it up here, I'd like to look at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And sit down and say, hey, can we change this or do something a little differently? I know we've had it, but it's a little different when you sit down with it in front of it to do it and then maybe adjust a few things to make it a little less expensive. But just like you said, that $400 to $600, that's not, we can't do that.
Let me say something. There's another thing. So when we got on the call, right? I think you guys had already mentioned this, you know, and that's when we got sort of the breakdown of the numbers per school, because they were gracious enough to share the information. But, you know, one thing that was mentioned in the call we had with Skilled Services this morning was making the comment that, you know, they do a lot of kind of renovation work like that. And they said, you know, part of what they're willing and prepared to do is doing a lot of after hours, even evening kind of work. So it doesn't disrupt, you know, the school day and, you know, because especially since a lot of this is work that's happening at the main entry of all of these schools, right? And I think that's great. And I think that's great that they're willing to do that. And he didn't come out and say this, but in the back of my mind, I told these guys after we got off the call, I said, you know, how much, because you know, those guys, you know, are they paying like a time and a half? Is that kind of overtime pay for their guy? And is that kind of getting baked into this too, you know?
And travel
Like I
time.
said, what's that?
And travel time.
And travel time, you know, we had that same conversation too. There's gotta be, you know, if you have like a superintendent or maybe minimize your number of superintendents, there's a lot of miles and gas kind of gotta be figured in there because, you know, these are spread out all across the county, you know, so, you know, and we're trying to rationalize and trying to be, give maybe to some degree the benefit of the doubt, but there are some really high numbers in here, so that makes it a little more difficult to do that.
Well, as a board, you know, we've got next week, but the following week we're in Nashville. So I don't know if that's something we want to try to squeeze in next week if the Lewis group is available, or wait till after we come back from Nashville. I mean, what's y'all's thoughts on scheduling something?
Pretty much what they want to do.
We can meet you in Nashville. We're gonna be there too.
Well, Keith had mentioned that, but I just don't know. We was trying to do our retreat in Nashville this year, but we just couldn't gather the time to do it. But I mean, I'm all for meeting in Nashville if we can determine a time that we can do it.
If you do a retreat, we can come to your retreat and we can, whether that's there or here or
Right.
wherever. Or
We're all in to help you figure
we can
this
just
out.
come
I mean,
here,
this
you know,
is-
whatever y'all want to do.
I'm kind of thinking, you know, just take like Dixie Glass. They build windows, frames, all this. And if we took your all's drawings, you all oversee it, and built our maintenance, come in here on these easy projects, and let them build everything and let our maintenance install it, or Dixie Glass install. You know, I'm just, I feel like we can do it cheaper than what some of the projects, some of them.
And Keith, I'm not as familiar with Dixie, but I mean,
it's
in the back of
not
my mind, I was
Dixie Glass
thinking,
no more.
I was thinking about Holston Glass, because they're up here in the Tri-Cities, right? And, you know, they're a pretty big outfit, but, you know, I thought, you know, on the heels of this, I thought about maybe just reaching out. I mean, I'll reach out to Bruce Ratliff there a lot, you know, about glass issues, but they're up in this area, and just to, you know, I'm kind of fixated a little bit on Asbury. I know it's one of our alternates, but again, I think that's a super high number for pretty minimal work. I mean, you know, we all know that remember Asbury, early on, there was a lot of bait and switch going on in there, and we backed way off of that just to create some secure vestibules. So, I mean, that's something, even in the interim here in the next day or two, I could reach out to Bruce there at Holston Glass, or, you know, if you've got a contact with Dixie, that's fine too.
Nobody. They may be out of business.
And just say, hey, how much are these pieces, you know, because that's pretty easy for them to figure, you know. And you know, maybe just sort of a sample size of, you know, just one project like that, or maybe a couple of them like that are the smaller ones.
So in looking to next week, possibly work session next week, I don't know that the week or in Nashville at the board's, you know, state conference, I don't know that would be the
Because
best.
we tried to figure something out for our retreat and couldn't, so.
But here, we would have a chance. I mean, we control the space, and it's in our community, and, you know, the work session to roll out everything and brainstorm. What next week would be possibilities if that were something the board considered.
Well, Tuesday, we got school visits Tuesday. I don't know if,
5 days prior.
oh, okay, we gotta have 5-day notice, so.
Is it 5 business days?
You might as well just do it after we get
Back from Nashville.
Nashville. That's probably
Can we not
free
back
up.
this up? to
Just
7:30?
remember when we get back from Nashville,
That's the 17th.
yeah, then we're hitting into the Thanksgiving week, so you have a work session scheduled for the 21st. Tuesday, the 21st already. We got the window, we believe without having the documents in front of us, it's a 30-day period where the contractor would honor the bid, but I don't know that really is gonna matter listening to where we're at. But the important thing is we get together and we strategize on another approach.
I mean, I think that makes sense in terms of giving us enough time to make phone calls as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, do a little more vetting. But you mentioned the 21st. Is that something, or?
Well, I'm just saying, we already have a workshop scheduled, there's other activities scheduled for that night, but I mean.
Well, Jennifer just said if we got it out tonight, we could do it Tuesday after our school visits, unless y'all wanted to wait and do it afterwards. I mean, that's a possibility.
Sorry, Mike, are you talking about Tuesday the 21st?
No, the 7th, I'm sorry, the
Oh, the
7th, yeah.
He says no, I can see it on his face.
I'm out of town.
The other option, again, of course, we have that week of the TSBA conference, and you all are, you know, most of you, I think, are going to the leadership conference.
Yeah, we've already got a lot of
So
those.
you already have a lot of time committed in Nashville that week.
Well, how about if we just plan it on the 21st and do an early workshop? Or do you think the board want to try to gather two together? I mean, we may be here a while,
Yeah.
you know. Do what?
Is that good to you all on the 21st?
I think it looks good to
I
me.
think so. We got our dinner that night too.
That's a good deal for them to go.
So,
I printed out a half-size set too. I don't know if that'd be helpful for anybody. If you'd like it, or do you want us to come with a
Can we
bigger
leave it?
set?
Yeah, if you leave it here.
No, that's what I'm asking today, but.
Yes.
Yeah, if you can leave it, we can do a copy.
And Whitney, we'll bring
That's
full size
we can
when we
make
do this,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and I think we can transfer whatever information we gather, we can just scribble it right there in red on
Yes.
drawings and, you know, the numbers, and then that way it's all
Am I already
Yeah,
at
it
full
all
lunch
information
on that
right
one?
there.
we know what we got. I thought you all maybe that's to start early because of your plans.
Do we
Can we
need
move
a
that
motion
through?
to reject this bid, or we gonna wait for a while?
I think you leave yourself an option if you take no action tonight.
If we moved our workshop up to 4 on the 21st, what do you think moving it up to 3 to give us that extra hour? If everybody's available that day, then,
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to,
21st works for me.
21st work for you all?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is that, you want to do it at 3 o'clock? And we've got a dinner scheduled that we'd like for you to stay and have dinner with us afterwards too.
Sure. Be great.
Well, if
It'll
we
be a
did
long
that,
day.
if we did that, we'd probably just roll in and keep the conversation going.
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean, that would give us an opportunity to get it.
What time do we need to be here on the 21st?
Called. In case we need to vote on
3
something.
o'clock?
3 o'clock. Let's do 3 o'clock on the,
Okay.
and we'll have at a call meeting in case we want to vote on something.
Can we just go ahead and start our workshop and have them here at 5 o'clock?
Well, yeah, I mean.
We'll get our workshop done. They ain't no use them sitting and waiting.
Well, that's true, do our workshop.
Yeah.
Let's do our workshop at 3, then we'll schedule our call meeting at
Whatever
5.
works
How's
for you
that?
Does that work for you all?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we'll go over that, and then they can eat, and then they,
We can eat and still discuss.
yeah.
Sounds good. Got it.
Okay, good.
You know, it's just one of those things, you know, there's 11 schools and we could get into the weeds on it. It could take a while.
But that's, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We love a long meeting. You're at the right place.
Hey, we do too.
If you're gonna do work with school boards, you're used to long meetings.
Yeah, that's fine. It works. You know, and I mean, if it goes really, you know, and we get through half of them or 3/4 of them, then we can just pick it back up. I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, I think.
Yeah, that's my other thought,
Cover all
you know,
everything.
we had to, we could break it in 2 meetings. So, we can see where we get.
So what might be helpful, and Jake has given us that set, we can make copies for everyone, and you all can just sit around at your leisure and mark it up in red if you have questions.
That gives us time to review it too before you get here and.
And draw a whole nother design if you want to.
There you go.
So we come to the meeting, already some of that thought out.
And along with that, why don't we just, maybe we just send that, we'll kind of clean that up and send it in an email, the breakdown that we got
That'd be great.
from the
That'd be
number. That way,
perfect,
you can see it per school and how all that breaks down.
Now that you have.
Yeah, we only got it.
just got
it. Got it today.
Because we asked them, that was part of, we're like, hey, can you give us this just so we can have some talking points tonight? And again, they were gracious enough to do that, but it's some big numbers.
I know.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, if you want to either go into the culinary department project or update us on if there is any more updates on the athletics. Probably not, or is there?
Well, no, I think that's kind of quick. Let me just say that about the athletics was, and Mr. Boyd, you saw that, and I agree totally, right, with basically the demolition contractor to get going, they to get their demolition permit, they have to have, you know, the asbestos, you know, testing. So they're going to do that as part of the construction. So that may kind of slow it down slightly out of the gate, but we're going to get that moving.
And we're still in the attorney's hands as far as the written agreement.
And I'm gonna call Todd Morris with Burwell. That was the thing I wanted to follow up with him on was, you know, timeline, you know, because they may not want to mobilize any of this, and they really shouldn't until they get a second sign. Right, but I'm just kind of encouraging him to sort of lay the groundwork.
Yes.
Right, and he is. Right. I mean, so he's talking to this demolition contractor. Sure. So he's been good to communicate and give us that feedback. So I think we'll be able to get started hopefully pretty soon on those. So
just as a reminder, because the funding involves the county, you know, as I mentioned, we have the board's attorney looking at it. I know yours. We also have the county attorney that has to look at it.
It's a process.
It is.
And then we can segue into
culinary too.
culinary. So
Which one?
I don't know if you want to. jump into that?
I'll
No,
let
that's
y'all
a spec, the other
This
one.
one?
But
That's it.
let me just say,
Which one?
Yes. No, thank you.
I don't know if y'all wanna go through like all the drawings or not. I'd be happy to go through that real quickly. We can do that real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Go ahead.
You want the
Yeah,
clicker?
well, you can see even what's projected up there. It's stamped and sealed. It's ready to go. So we have one last little piece with our, and Peter in our office was, whom I know some of you've met, was spearheading that effort. But there was just a single hand wash location that had to move, and it has moved. And we got the drawing, and it's done. We got the drawing back from our plumbing engineer, so it's ready to go. As of yesterday, I guess we got that final. So there was just a little bit of correspondence that he had with the culinary arts instructor and just making sure that things were getting, exactly where they needed to be.
It's well detailed, rooftop units, makeup air,
Yeah, which is what you just saw. If you go back to that,
The roof
the
line.
rooftop unit for the makeup
Gas
air, for
lines.
the hoods. Yeah.
And all of those, I mean, rooftop, of course, there also are utilities that will be underneath coming up, obviously. Is that where the gas line's gonna be coming from below?
it comes from the roof.
Yeah.
I believe it can't be concealed above a ceiling, so
Okay.
that's why they run it on the roof.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Structural plans, right? There's all the structural remediation for that new makeup air unit on the roof, structural details. Fire protection, moving some sprinkler heads, right, to accommodate the new hoods. Plumbing, there you go, there's all your utilities.
With respect to the ceiling, they're just reuse of some of the existing 2x4 troffers. They're not new fixtures. But where the new hoods were coming in, obviously they're pretty big. So those fixtures that were in the way, they just moved over. The ones that are in the darker outlines, they are the relocated, right there. They're the relocated fixtures. So, I think all that worked pretty well. There's a new electrical room to, go back, I'm sorry, if you go back to on the bottom left there, that space, new electrical room for some new electrical service and panels. And again, we just scroll through there. Anyway, they're ready. Here's the thing, my plan, so tomorrow's Friday, I'll have advertisement for bid. I can, just like we did for the athletics, I'll send that, I guess, to Dr. Adams, right? And then you guys can advertise for it. And we're ready to go, and hopefully we'll get multiple bids. So,
Do we want to put this out to bid until, should we wait for do we do the security assessment first?
Well, keep in mind, the funding for this is going to have to come from our fund balance unless Mr. Hale has another place, so.
I think he stretched things as far as he can stretch things.
Keep in mind, I think we have to determine funding before we send it out for bid. So that's something, we need to take in consideration before we ask them to put it out. So, it's orders up to the board.
Can we wait till spring on this? Can we put this off to spring? We have the drawings, we have all the work done.
Hear that, or see if we can put it in the budget season for next year.
I would suggest you consider that. I think it's ready to go, but, I think in light of the recent bids for the school security and the discussion that you're gonna have, I would have this on the side and hold it to proceed.
If we wait just a little bit, things could potentially go down a little more with the contractors, with the rates and things the way they are, construction's gonna slow down.
Is it a $500,000 deal?
do you remember what Rusty was talking about?
I thought you said 3.
Yeah, we had heard around 3, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing that
I'd say you're in a good range.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
So
Yeah,
I think we need to see where we're at in the spring and go from there.
Revisit.
Yes, in the spring.
The one thing that we were just talking about is the state fire marshal, which will review these, is currently on the 2012 series international codes. And in the spring, or actually it's in
First of the year.
first of the year, there's a small grace period in there. He's going all the way to the 2021 codes. So whenever we send this to them for review, I guess it'll get reviewed under that code, but then held on to for 6 months. That's still, just if we can be in conversation about when you want to do
We
it,
need
so
to
we can
make
make
sure
sure
we
on our
get it
end.
out before,
Well,
yeah, 6 months.
you're right about that, and then the other thing I think we need to talk about, and that may just be a conversation with Rusty about, if there's really, I mean, it's a really small scope, so it may not be anything more than changing the code. And I'm not saying for sure this is the case, but it may not be anything more than changing the code on the cover sheet, right?
It may
And
not.
not be anything extra, right? So,
But to be
Anyway.
honest, we haven't read into the 2021 code
Yes.
yet because we haven't been required to. So we'll need to look into that just to
Well,
make sure.
yeah, we'll check into that. But I mean, at the very least, we get it out before, we don't have to worry about that. But if we can go ahead and, look at that just to be able to tell you the next time we're here.
Yeah, we're probably anticipating spring
well, and the other
to
question is,
revisit it.
and Todd just mentioned, do we wait until then to send it to the state fire? Because it's an educational occupancy, it has to be reviewed by the state fire marshal. Do we go ahead and send it? And there's a fee that comes with that, which is not gonna be huge because, well,
If they approve it, how long is your approval good for with them?
I want to say 6 months. Well, not so long, it has.
yeah,
Doesn't stay.
I'll ask that question specifically.
When does the new start at the first of the year?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So maybe we could do it end of December and send it in and then
We'd have to
end our
June.
grace period
Yeah,
eventually.
that's right.
After June.
That's right. I just wanted to bring that up. I
Stay
mean,
under that umbrella.
we wanted to go ahead and get any approvals.
Because it may well start.
Again, it's pretty small scope. I don't
So
really foresee them having any.
next year.
Based
And we'll check just to
That's
see if
not-
there's gonna be any major change. We don't
We don't
anticipate
use
that.
our
It may not
fund
be.
balance. We have
I mean,
Just
it's
very
pretty
minor.
But if we do use our fund balance, we
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna depend on, and we'll know that by May.
Okay, we'll just table it for right now and maybe revisit latter part of December.
Well, it's good that they're ready to go.
Right.
Whenever
Yes.
we need.
And we thank you.
Great.
Yeah, appreciate the work you put into that for us.
Guess that's all we have.
I guess we'll see you in Nashville here in a few weeks.
That's great. Yeah, let's talk about Lamar really quick. Oh, Lamar.
Oh, yeah, Lamar, you wanna,
Is that one of these?
Yeah, so we had a chance to go out and visit with Dr. Adams and look at Lamar. I'll let you go ahead, what you saw there.
Yeah, some of the facade, it's a glass reinforced, I think, cement panel are failing. We've just kind of gotten a surface level look at it. Dr. Adams brought the existing drawings, so I took some pictures of those, and we've got those in the car to take back to the office and really start investigating what your options are for replacement of those panels. Basically, what we've talked about is doing some selective demolition on a part of the building, like over by the loading dock where there's no students, so we can see if it's just a surface level deterioration or if it's penetrated into the building at all. So we can get a better idea. So if you need to replace your weather barrier, you need to replace your sheathing. Because in some of the areas that we could see, there's a plywood sheathing there which isn't allowed by code anymore because it's combustible. The school is completely deteriorated. So we're gonna take the next steps, do a little research, get back to you. And we'll, there's a lot of different ways that we can handle the veneer in the building. And we'll work with you guys on, is it expediency? Do we need to be quick about it? Is it aesthetics? I mean, we can present an option once we have all the information.
We can do our part. We think the next steps for you all is to allow somebody, whether that's your maintenance staff or whatever, to demo some kind of, some selective demo, do a little exploratory area to be able to, next time we're up here, we can go look at it, take pictures and that kind of thing. That would, what we would suggest to you all be your next steps as a board. We'll do our research on our end, but that would be maybe your next step.
that's something Jerry can take care of, I'm sure, with our maintenance department.
Okay. That's all we got.
Thank you.
It's good to see y'all.
Same here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll figure it out. Together, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
I like the optimism.
Okay, next is our public comment, which we have none for this meeting again. Next, if I can get a motion for consideration of meeting agenda. Second, discussion.
I need to request that we add to section 11F, the request to release school bus bids.
Anybody that, everybody all in favor for that? Add that to the agenda. All right, let's vote, please, Jennifer.
Ms. Dellinger, how do you vote?
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you. Next, can I get a motion for approval of meeting minutes, please?
Make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote again, please, Jennifer.
Second. Ms. Dellinger, how do you vote?
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you. Next is announcements. I'll turn it over to Mr. Boyd.
Just a series of things to bring to your awareness and for public knowledge. You know, we have the last school visit scheduled. That is, the date's not listed there, but that's on November 7th. And so South Central and Lamar. And then, of course, that night they have, you know, usually the budget committee meetings happen on a different day, but this time it's happening on Tuesday the 7th. So that'll be in the morning. So during the school visits, I will have to head over to the budget committee meeting, and I'll try to rejoin you if I can. And then, of course, we already have mentioned about the week of the 16th through the 19th, the TSBA annual convention in Nashville. I believe we have 100% signed up to go to that. Board workshop we've already mentioned, November 21st, and now it says 5 p.m., but I think there was a suggestion that we start early, even prior to tonight, but that changes to 3 p.m. Based on your discussion. Then we have our school break scheduled, so that's the Thanksgiving break, 22nd through the 24th. Just for everyone's reminder. Then you see the county commission meeting the last Monday of the month, or the fourth Monday. And then we start over again in our cycle. The Hugh committee looks to be a little early. And so on. Everything's a little bit earlier in December, I guess, trying in preparation for the upcoming holiday. And that's all the things. I think one other announcement, just for board's awareness, our academic department has been working with the schools, the elementary schools, on a concept of a district-wide distributing books for families to read with their children, and associated activities of one book for the whole district and those grade levels. So we're rolling that out tomorrow to announce it,
so to speak.
We've labeled it "Reading Together: One Book for All," and quite honestly, it's a program that another organization lead. You could for a subscription or for a fee, you could use their program, but we didn't want to break copyright, so we developed our own and we renamed our own concept. So we're doing basically the one book for all. That'll be, as you can see, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So
K through.
Yeah,
it's K through
it's
5.
for elementary school. Yes.
That's good.
So we have an example. One of our elementary schools has done last year. They started doing a one book, one school. Ridgeview did, and the concept of one book, one district through that same group is really how we modeled this idea after. So the intent, of course, is to engage families with their children, read a book that everyone can engage with at different levels, and just together work through the same book.
Nice.
And share that experience together.
Question, is our board meeting set for December? Is that moved to Tuesday?
We did move it to Tuesday, yes.
December 5th.
Yes.
Yeah, it was originally on the 7th. I think in the strategic planning meeting,
Asked 'cause
there
he
was
won't be
there was an adjustment to the 5th.
Chad asked because he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, at the strategic planning meeting, I think that's where the
Right.
adjustment was made.
Right.
Yes, sir. 5 o'clock. Other than that, no more announcements, and we'll get into superintendent's reports, but we're gonna start with Sophie, and she has a chance to highlight some schools, or a school.
I think there's a clicker on the podium maybe, if the guys left it.
Yes, they did. Sorry about that. I want to have it in front of me so I can make sure I'm hitting all the high points. Hello again. I've had the pleasure to talk to most of you tonight, and I did get to talk to most of you when you toured David Crockett a couple weeks ago. Through the SCOPE program, I was asked to highlight Gray School, or Gray Elementary, and David Crockett High School, and I feel that I really lucked out in that area because I do go to David Crockett, so I felt it was a great opportunity for me to highlight some of the amazing things that we do there and some of the amazing things that I participate in there. So we'll start with Gray Elementary. I connected with their principal, Ms. Amy Lawson, and she gave me some great information as to what they are doing in their school. So first, the Gray School Student and Faculty Energy Team, they won a grant last year, and they used this money to create 2 outdoor classrooms, which I think is a great opportunity just to keep kids focused and engaged, being outside when the weather's nice. You can see a picture of them utilizing these classrooms. And she even said that they, like I wrote up here, they're thrilled to have 2 new learning environments that they're able to utilize. Next is the Coalition for Kids partner that they have started. It's designed to help children build strong moral character, spiritual foundations, physical health, and mental confidence. And a Coalition for Kids for 2 decades has been committed to providing vulnerable children across the region with a nurturing and faith-based environment to help them develop into successful individuals, and that is their mission statement straight from their website. Gray School is obviously very excited to have the addition of them. They offer snacks for students and after school, maybe a meal. It's a free program for children, and my small group is also offering tutoring for those students who sign up for Coalition for Kids to help them out in the classroom as well. And I think this is a great program for kids after school who really need that to help build up their success from a young age. Moving into some more athletic things, cross-country season has happened. They had 3 students qualify for state, and I think this is great because some of the times for middle school students are like running a 5K are kind of crazy. Like some of these kids at the age in 6th grade can run 5-minute miles, and that's just insane to me. You can see them pictured right here. They are coached by Paige Bible, and their meet is coming up, so I wish them the best of luck because I think it's amazing that they're able to do something like this. Recently, the Gray School had a food drive, and they were able to collect 721 items to donate to the Gray Community Chest. I think this is a great way that they have helped impact their community, even starting in middle school and engaging all children. There was a competition. That's generally the best way to get kids involved in things, is seeing which class could bring in the most items, and they were able to collect 721 overall. A recent addition has been their new STEM lab, where they explore the concept of food trucks, and they even designed a food truck. The students also used the 3D printer to create a replica of the Twin Towers when they were discussing 9/11 in their classrooms, and they used VR headsets to explore different careers in a more hands-on way, and they enjoyed working with robotics kits. So there are lots of ways engaging students and opening them up to new careers. they're really fostering their curiosity and learning at a young age. The picture that I've included on this presentation is an example of a robotics kit. When I was in middle school, I was fortunate enough to be a part of our robotics club, and that was a great experience for me, and so I know that I really enjoyed it when I was there. So I did not go to Gray, I went to Jonesboro, but it is something, we had something similar, and I really enjoyed it because not only did I learn about the science and the math concepts and programming and designing and research and creative thinking and all those things, I also learned about relations. That's where I really started to learn how to collaborate with other students starting in the 6th grade. Some clubs that we have, we've already heard. I did not know that they were coming, but we did hear from Capturing Kids' Hearts, and I think it's amazing starting at such a young age how they are already impacting their community. They also have a student council, they have FCA, and an art club. Upcoming on November 10th, they have a veterans breakfast, and they will be hosting the choral department from David Crockett will be singing at that as well. This is to honor all of our veterans and those who have served for our country. Some school sponsors that Gray has is Office Depot / Office Max. This program is called Give Back to Schools, and parents can enter Gray's school code at checkout, and the school receives 5% back on those purchases, and that money can then be used to buy school supplies. And I know hearing from a lot of teachers that buying school supplies for classrooms is very expensive, so this is a great way to not only help students but also help teachers. At Food City, families can register their value card using the school code, and the school codes are all listed in the bottom of the little paragraph. Each dollar spent is 1 point towards the school, and this year the pool of money is $800,000, and the more points a school has, the larger their share of that money can be. Using something similar to the Food City value card, the Ingalls Advantage card, if you use that at checkout, the Ingalls will give a school portion back of those sales, and that can also be used to buy school supplies. So these partners are great ways that the community and the parents can get involved and help the students with learning tools such as school supplies. Moving into now where I'm fortunate enough to go to school, I would like to first talk about my experience. I've included some pictures of some of my favorite memories from Crockett. Some highlights that I've had, I love sitting in the student section at football games. This is a great way, just after a long week of school, we get to go cheer and be loud and scream for our football team. I was able to connect with my counselor. She brought the idea of the ETSU medical camp to me, and that is where I spent an entire week in a dorm at ETSU with a group of 20 other high school students from all around the region learning about their EQUIP program, which is their program that helps makes medical school more accessible for students in the area and really encourages students to, once they become doctors, to stay in this area and foster rural health in a community that needs it. I was fortunate enough to be selected to interview for ETSU's Roan Scholar as well, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without the helps of teachers in the English department and Dr. Davis and the librarians. They all helped me prepare for that interview, and my second round of interviewing is coming up later this month. So I'm really relying on their guidance through this process, and I've been very grateful for them to help me with this. I also play volleyball. I do run track as well, but the volleyball team my freshman year was definitely in need of some success. We were struggling. We hadn't won a conference game, and I could not tell you how many years when I entered the program, and we actually were 5-5 this year, and we had a winning record for the first time in a very, very, very long time. And the community of friends that I have gained from volleyball, not just the sport and the discipline that athletics teaches you, but just the way that we have kind of grown up together. My freshman year, we started with 12 freshmen, and then we ended with 5 seniors. And of course it's bittersweet because I know that I'm going to move on to greater things in life, but it's, that was my life for 4 years. And in the top corner, you're right. That girl is actually my setter, the one with the long braid. So I love all the friends that I've made through there. the scope trip that I was able to go on with other students that will be presenting to you. One has already, Miss Allie has. That was a great experience because I got to do what you all do here. So I really got to learn what goes into making decisions for our school, and that made me more grateful for the work that you all do for us. I have gone on lots of trips in high school, if you're getting the memo here. I have been on multiple hosted trips to compete in state competitions. I compete in something called job seeking skills, and that focuses on the soft skills like interviewing, resume writing, personal statement writing. And HOSA is health occupations, so it's all health based. That trip just outside of the competition piece, we went to a silent disco and we got ice cream really super late at night, and sharing hotel rooms with your friends and making stupid TikToks are some of my best memories that I've had. And just building off of the relationships that I have made. Some of my best relationships I have made are with my teachers. Like I mentioned with my Roan Scholar process, all of the teachers have been there to help me and guide me through lots of these things. And there are teachers in that building that when I am struggling, I go straight to them, and I know that I can trust them, and I know that they will help me. And I think that's the beauty of connecting with students, and that's a big part of why teachers are so important and how they have been so important in my life. So that's just a little bit about what I've done. I thought the pictures were a nice touch so you could see it in action. Moving on to some things we have at Crockett. We have a plethora of clubs for students to join. Recently I have got the opportunity to talk to some freshmen who obviously are terrified because high school is scary when you first start. And we sat down with them and we walked them through all the clubs that they could join, what they would do, and we just kind of talked them through, what they were interested in, how they could join these clubs, what it would look like, commitments, things like that. And we actually had, I would say, a good number of freshmen reach out to clubs like FFA and Beta Club and FCA and say, hey, I want to get involved, which is the whole point of talking to them. We want them to be involved because the senior class and the junior, we're not going to be there forever. So it's really up to us to help build the freshmen. So these are some of the clubs we can join. There are plenty of them. We'll start with some of our big club highlights. Student Council, the Senior Mentor Program is what I just mentioned, talking to the freshmen. So every other Wednesday, senior members of the Student Council go into their designated freshman success classrooms during third period, which is our short period of the day. And we are focused on issues such as lack of school spirit and involvement. We play games and we talk about their day to really try to connect with them and build those relationships to help kind of ease them into high school and show them that there are ways they can be involved, show them that it's not as scary as they might think. My teacher's name is Miss Wilson. She's an English teacher, so we call my partner, my other mentor and I, his name is Josh. We go in there and we try to make it like a big celebration. We call them Wilson Wednesdays. And the freshmen, if I'm being honest, they like him better. He's a lot, they talk about racing cars, and just getting to know them, I think, has really helped them transition into high school. FCCLA has had a lot of success recently. I know we talked about the culinary department with the budget people. Over the summer, they went to Denver, and some students competed in 3 different competitions, and they all won the highest ranking you can get, which is a gold medal. They were very successful, and they placed top 10 in the entire nation, which is a huge deal for them. Upcoming, we have International Night, which is hosted by our International Club, and we have a growing number of international families in our area, and these are students and families from all over the world. I know in my first period piano class, there's a student, he is from Denmark. His name is Jakob, and when he first came to America, he was telling us all about the culture shocks that he had. He just does not, American culture was it kind of stopped him in his tracks. So this is a way for families to kind of become integrated in this area. They are invited to share about their culture with students and with students here that are learning their language, and just kind of be involved, integrate a little bit better. Next is our Beta Club. Our Beta Club inducted new members recently, and they have a total membership of 43. Their first service project before they even inducted new members was a food drive that helps refill our food box it's called the Pioneer Pantry by the school's Guard Shack, and that is for students who need it. Any student can go up to that box and get whatever food they may need for their families. They also participate in hosting or volunteering at races such as the Girls on the Run 5K, and they pack food boxes for Kids Against Hunger in December. So they have 2 big projects coming up. Beta Club is one of our community service organizations, and they complete a lot of projects, and they are involved in lots of things that really do make an impact on our community. HOSA, I mentioned HOSA a little bit earlier. HOSA Camp is one event that we recently just had. It was hosted on October 27th, and this is where health science students from Boone and Crockett meet at the Appalachian Fairgrounds to complete a certification course. Last year we did Stop the Bleed, and we learned about tourniquets and wound packing and what to do in emergency situations, how to keep yourself safe. This year we learned about CPR and BLS, and everyone before the camp was over became certified in CPR. We have from Crockett, we had our paramedic, Miss Holly Backberg, and our registered nurse, Miss Sherry Wolf, teach the course for us, so they are very experienced and taught us very well. Our theme this year, Crockett hosted it, so our theme was Barbie. As you can see we had our construction class make us a little Barbie box as a prop. It was a great day of just connecting with Boone. There's often a lot of competition between Crockett and Boone, so this was a day where we could kind of just be future health professionals together. I mentioned state competition earlier. How state competition works is there are a number of competitions that students can choose from. There are skills, there's writing, test taking, leadership skills, which is what I do. Job seeking skills falls under leadership. And if your competition has a regional round and you place top 3, you then get to go to state, which is usually held in Knoxville, but this year it will be held in Chattanooga. And this trip overall, outside, like I mentioned earlier, outside of the competition is a blast. I mentioned the silent disco, and if you don't know what silent disco is, they give everybody headphones. And the room is completely silent, but if you have your headphones on, you can hear the music. So if you were to be an outsider looking in, it would just be a silent room of people screaming lyrics that you can't hear, but you can hear it with the headphones on, and it's a great time because there's always 3 different songs going at once, so everybody's screaming different songs. It's a great night. An event that we went to, again, just recently, October is a very busy month for HOSA, is the Scarecrow Skedaddle, and this is an event hosted by Niswonger Children's Hospital. There's a modified race for cancer patients at the Children's Hospital that they can compete in, and then there's also a 5K that helps raise money for the hospital. HOSA goes to this event every year in the children's area, and kids can come up to us and talk to us about health, just the healthcare field, and we can also dress them in PPE. So we will put gowns on them, we put gloves and masks and caps. Sometimes we even put shoe covers on them to show some of these kids that doctors aren't that as scary. Their costumes may look terrifying, but they're really not. And it's a fun way for them to just kind of relax. I always get voluntold to be the one wearing all of the PPE every year, and that is hot. It is very toasty in all of that gear, but that is a great event that I love going to every year. To dive more into some of the community service things we do at our school, we have 2 designated community service clubs. One is Key Club and the other is Civinettes. Key Club last year we accumulated 742 community service hours, and this year, halfway through the first semester, we are already at 125 hours. We do projects such as our book drive. Right now we are collecting things to make baskets for families going home from the Ronald McDonald House. We partner with our CDC program at Crockett and Four Oaks Nursing Home, and we adopt students or adopt residents, and we buy them Christmas gifts off their wish list. We go to Girl Scout meetings once a month and do crafts with them. We go to Joy Prom hosted by Grace Fellowship, and we are the paparazzi. We cheer for the prom goers. We dance with them all night. That is one of my favorite events that I get to go to every year. I went to it even before I was in high school with my mom. We also have an ongoing project called our Clothes Closet, and that is a resource for any students in our school that needs, if they had a spill or an accident or something, they can go to the clothes closet and get new clothes, or if they need clothes to take home with them, we have everything from underwear to socks, pants, we have every article of clothing you could ever need. Civinettes is an all-girls community service club, and right now I believe, if I remember correctly, there are 48 of us. There are lots of girls in that club. Last year we had over this year already, we have over 500 hours collected, and my class is one of the only classes that got to join Civinettes as freshmen, and we have almost 2,000 community service hours between all of us, and that every year Miss Chanley, who is our advisor, will go through and see which class has the most, and right now we're winning. I like to, but that's not the point of community service, but that is what we do at the end of every year. Some projects we do through Civinettes, we help with the wrestling tournament, so we are the ones with the pool noodles who go behind the refs and do the times. We do the hospitality rooms. We do anything and everything that the Wrestling Booster Club needs. We are actually helping with one this weekend. We help the counseling office and Misty CHS with the feminine hygiene products. We collect those during the month of October to help to put in the women's bathrooms at school. We host our winter formal every year, and we do multiple events in downtown, including the gift wrapping at the visitor center. We do Whoville Christmas. We did Haunts and Happenings last Friday night. So we do lots of things. Miss Chanley has lots of connections in downtown, and we have become very trusted members of downtown to be able to do those events for them. Our religious organizations at Crockett, we have 2 of them, and most schools have FCA. FCA is a very common one for schools to have. They host events such as See You at the Pole. Fields of Faith is coming up for us. They are currently working on creating boxes for Operation Christmas Child, which I know most churches do as well. Right now they have students signed up to create 20 boxes already, which is a great start. They meet every Wednesday morning at 7:15 in the weight room for a time of devotion, and everyone is invited. They always like to reiterate that you don't have to be an athlete to join. Most people do, and that kind of deters them from showing up for that time of devotion, but they really want as many people that want to come to show up. Something that is very unique to Crockett is something called FISH. Despite what most people believe, that is not an acronym for anything. I am the leader of FISH this year, and I've been trying for about 3 years to come up with an acronym for it, but I can't think of anything that fits, so if you have something, let me know. This is our student-led ministry on campus. We meet every other Friday in the auxiliary gym during people's lunches. Anyone can come. A local church will provide food for them. Sometimes, last year, I believe the most we ever had was 520 students come for lunch, which is a lot of mouths to feed. So I'm very grateful for all of our local church partners who provide the food for us. Our goal through all of this is to share the gospel with as many students as possible who may not have grown up in an environment where they heard it. Our leadership team hosts events. We have our backpack drive that we donate backpacks to the counseling office, because that is the most in-demand thing at the beginning of the school year, is students needing backpacks. We do our back to school prayer. A big thing we do is any student, not just our leadership team within our club, can buy t-shirts, and we use that money to help fund different events in the community. So if someone is having a family crisis, or our Angel Tree project that our counseling office does, we will use that money that we have collected from t-shirts and donate what we can to those things. FISH is very near and dear to my heart. I have tried, my main goal through leading FISH is to bring people closer to Christ, and that is what my entire leadership team is passionate about as well. FFA, there's some pictures from recent things that they have done. They have presented to Farm Bureau Insurance some about what they learned at a leadership conference over the summer. They competed in Knoxville and some of their members won awards, and they also partnered with West Hill Tractor recently.
Yeah.
We have lots of class opportunities at Crockett. Many students can graduate with a certification where they can go straight into the industry or get a head start. We'll start with health science. Some certifications that students can get would be a CNA license, an EMT basic license, which means that when CNAs, if they pass their test when they graduate, they can work in a nursing home, a hospital, an emergency department, whatever it may be. EMTs can work on a truck. The only thing they cannot do is they cannot start IVs to administer medicine, but we can take vitals, administer CPR or basic life support, anything like that. I am currently enrolled in the EMT program, so hopefully I will pass my test in May and be able to gain that experience on the truck. We also have a new program, dental assisting. There is no certification paired with that yet. This is just an introductory class for students interested in the field of dentistry. Something really cool. I don't know another word for it. This is just really cool that we've gotten lately. We got an anatomage table to replace our synthetic cadaver. That, oh my gosh, I don't know if you all got to play with that thing yet. That's awesome.
I did.
It replaced my remains, our syndaver, and it allows for hands-on learning in anatomy. And on behalf of the health science department, they wanted to thank you for allowing us to have one. Crockett and Boone both have one, I believe. And I got to play around with it when we did the school board tours. Mr. Irvin got to go with us and play around with it. And
No, but it was too.
I think I had fun. I don't know if he had fun,
I'm sure
but I had
Keith did
fun.
too.
But that will really help us because Myra, she's not alive. She's synthetic, but she was, starting to grow molds. That's a good word, thank you. She was deteriorating, and so this will eliminate all those barriers, and we will be able to use this constantly, hopefully for years and years to come. Some of our other CTE classes we have welding, automotive, electrical, masonry, construction, bricklaying, CAD, architecture, graphic design, almost anything you could want at Crockett. This is really where my siblings personally thrive. I take more on the health science side of things. They are more welding and automotive and electrical. That is where they really thrive. And there are no certifications where you can go straight working into the industry, but there are lots of programs that Crockett partners with at Northeast State where students get their degree in 2 years and go work. And they can graduate with certifications in OSHA. Culinary has ServSafe, and graphic design has Adobe. And within Adobe, there are 3 or 4 different distinctions such as illustration or Photoshop, different things like that. And lots of these students are very, very talented. I've seen some of the work that they have done. It is incredible what they're able to do on a computer. Our ag classes, right now, at the time that I wrote this, it was still warm. So they were installing new landscape on our outdoor classroom. We have an outdoor classroom as well that we utilize. They work extremely hard to keep the upkeep on this. They tore out all the overgrown landscape, all the flowers. They planted new beds. They also prune and nurture trees. We have a greenhouse. We have 2 greenhouses actually that are used for learning and growing flowers for our big flower sale in the spring. Anytime you drive into Crockett and see nice flowers growing, you can thank Mr. Conger and his agriculture classes for that. They work very, very hard on making our school look nice on the outside. Our chorus students, we have lots of success in our choral department. We have students, I believe every year since Miss Kelly Davenport has been there, get scholarships for their singing. This year, there were 17 students that auditioned for All East Choir, and if you don't know what All East is, that is kind of like the all conference of music. You go in you get a cut of this Latin song, and you go into the room and you sing it in front of a panel of judges, much like this panel is set up, and they pick a certain number of students from each voice part, And we had 2 students make it. Those 2, if you can see them in the green shirts in the middle row right there, they are the 2 that made it, and their all-state auditions are actually next week. The 3 in the back row, Chelsea, Zach, and AJ, they are alternates, so that means that if someone gets sick, they are able to go. They are also learning the music just to be prepared. And then you can't see them because my words cut them off. But in the front row, we have freshmen that were able to make the all-freshman choir, which is a great way to help get them integrated into the choral department. Miss Davenport has never had 17 students audition before. I was one of the students that auditioned, and the way she was able to work with us, all 17 of us individually, was quite amazing. We just had a concert for our fall concert. It was called Remember This. Upcoming, if you would like to come watch, we call it a mixed up Christmas. There are lots of different types of Christmas songs is all I'm going to say. I can't reveal too much because you'll have to come watch it. But they will both be at 3 p.m. on December 9th and 10th. And on behalf of Ms. Davenport and the choral department, we want to say thank you for our new lights and the advancements that will be made to the theater. We have 2 students who run our audio-visual crew, and they have really taken the lights and the sound up and really made it their own, and the creativity that they're able to have with these new tools is incredible. There's no more days of trying to press all the buttons and move all the sliders anymore. You can just program it all and it does it for you, which is amazing. I would like to highlight some students and the awards that they have gotten recently. For starters, Ms. Cameron Smith, she was recognized by College Board with the National Hispanic Recognition Award. She received this because of her outstanding AP and PSAT scores. Cameron is of Cuban descent. Her mom, I believe, is at least half Cuban. I can't remember off the top of my head, but she received this because of her Hispanic heritage. And her AP and PSAT scores are quite amazing. She has some of the best scores in our school. Battle of the Builds students from Skills USA, which is a club we have at Crockett, competed in the Battle of the Build over spring break last semester, and they created this wood fire pizza oven, and we have used this at wrestling tournaments, basketball games, and we will put it outside the doors and people can order pizza, and it's a hit. They go constantly. It never stops the entire night. People love it, and this is a great way to raise money for some of our CTE departments as well. These are also some more ACT recognitions. We have 13 students as of right now who received 30 plus on their ACT. This is the class of 2024, so my senior class. ACT scores came out today, so hopefully more will be added to this as well after today. Now I would like to highlight some of our athletic accomplishments this year. I've already mentioned a few, but our fall sports, just as an overview, cross country placed first in their conference, first in their region, and they left for state this morning. So they run tomorrow, and these girls are incredible. They're all amazing athletes, and the stamina and endurance and perseverance that they all have is admirable. Girls volleyball, which I touched on a little bit earlier, this is the highest we've placed in the conference in over 2 decades. One of the biggest things we did this year was a pink out school volleyball game versus Boone. Boone came to our school and we played them in support of 2 students in our county who are unfortunately battling cancer, and we were able to raise money to help pay for their treatments. 2 students who play golf also qualified for the regional round, and Cadence Ball, who is the female athlete who qualified, was the first girl to make it since 1998, so 25 years. And Noah Eves, the male athlete who qualified, is the first one since 2016. These are all of the accolades that the girls and boys cross-country teams have. As you can see, these are straight from Coach Jennings. I went to him and I said, hey, could you tell me how great your cross-country team has been this season? And this is what he sent me. So as you can see, both of them have done very, very well this season. Lots of first place, second place, first place. And most students, something that they like to do, I think it's hilarious. Every time they PR, Jennings will buy them a cookie. So you always see pictures of them holding their cookies, being like, I got a PR. So they are great, not just competitively as athletes, they're also a great community within themselves. These are some of our volleyball accolades that we've had this year. These edits came from our Instagram page that our coach's wife runs. She makes all of these, and they're very nice to look at. I will say she does a great job running our social media pages. But we had every student on our team made the all academic team for our conference, which means we all had over 3.5 GPAs. And all of our seniors had 4.0s or higher. We had one student make first team all conference, one student make second team all conference, and one student make, I believe it was an all tournament team. She made the all tournament team. That was our libero, Katie Honks. We had a couple of honorable mentions as well in the middle. We had players of the week. We had 2 players make player of the week this season. And as you can see our pictures up at the very top. That's our whole team. And I would like to correct myself from a minute ago. 4 of our seniors had over 4.0 GPAs. This is more on our Dig Pink is what we called it, in-school volleyball game. Boone came to our school. We made t-shirts. We were dark pink, they were light pink. And this game was to honor and raise money for 2 students that were battling cancer. As I mentioned, we raised over $4,000 for one student who is currently at St. Jude without her family there, which was really hard. I'm sure that's very difficult for them. But we also had a student who was able to come watch the game, and his name was Junior. And he sat, and we, walked him out with our lineup when we went through the lineups, and that was a very special night for him because he sat in the corner and we ate lunch with him afterwards, and we were like, so what did you think? And he's like, this was amazing. This was so awesome that you all let me sit on your bench. That really just made it all worth it. Girls soccer also had a very successful season. They placed 4th in their conference as well. Some of our student athletes were highlighted in the news. Sophia Googe was one of them. She was News 5 Week 5 Student Athlete of the Week due to her achievements on and off the court. She's in the top 10% of our class of 2024, and she is one of the seniors with a 4.0 plus GPA. She's involved in many community service organizations. It's in school and in her church. We also had Mr. Adrian Wynn. Johnson City Press wrote an article highlighting the impact that the Wynn family has left at Crockett, and they really touched on how Adrian and his younger brother AJ, the special moments that they've shared on the football field. And Adrian was the discus state champion for track back in the spring, so they mentioned his accomplishments there as well. Our band, their performance this year was called Seasons Change. As you can see, they also were very successful this season. All the competitions they went to, you can see that they were first place, second place, first place, superior rating, all the things. They were very successful. And comparatively, our band has lower numbers, but you wouldn't know it. They sound amazing. They all work really hard at what they do. And even in the classroom, these students are amazing as well. More on football, we had Colton Farrell was also a player of the week. Adrian Wynn, like I mentioned earlier, his Johnson City Press highlight, and Jake Whaley got the Herald and Tribune spotlight. And these students, plus a senior by the name of Dylan Callahan, made all conference for this past season. They voted on it very recently, and Coach Shanley gave me that information earlier today. So even through some hardships, they were still able to be successes this football season for Crockett. That's all that I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
You've done a great job, and
Thank
all
you.
your research is impressive.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Fantastic. You're a beautiful soul.
Yes,
Thank you.
she is.
You're a delight.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. When did they have a future teacher of America? I've never heard. How long is that club?
That's a relatively new club.
They just now
Started
started that
this year.
class.
All right.
I believe this is the They started my sophomore year, so this will be their third year, and we have since added a class. There's a class that kind of goes along with FTA now. It's called Intro to Teaching as a Profession, and the students in that class, they lesson plan just like a teacher would, and they are given different grade levels and different subjects. So some of my friends, they were talking about this with me, they were tasked with creating a lesson plan for kindergarten math. So, and they had to teach it to their peers as if they were kindergartners learning how to add for the first time. So the class and the club kind of cooperate together.
And I was asked to come to be a guest speaker for Ms. Rastel's.
Yes, Ms. Rastel is the teacher.
Share some of my experience.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great.
Great job.
Just the rest of the items under superintendent's reports are just regular updates for your full information and public record. Now we'll move this into consideration of consent agenda.
Okay. That you?
I don't think so, but
No, it's not.
Okay, can I get a motion for consideration of consent agenda, please?
I'll make that motion.
Discussion?
Wanted to ask a question on enrollment update.
Okay.
Enlarge my screen here. Looking at Westview, as far as 2630, is that one teacher for each class there?
In some cases, it may be two. I mean, I shared with you all the ratios. You can go back and look at Westview and see the teacher name and the number assigned in each classroom. You know, right off the top of my head without that in front of me, that where there's 30 and 31, those are two teachers.
Okay.
They, you know, Westview right now compared to last year's enrollment is down. But they maintain the same level of staffing that they had in 22-23.
Mr. Irvin?
I left early during the workshop. What did y'all decide on the house?
It's on the agenda tonight to
Oh, it is?
to discuss.
I can't get it pulled up.
Oh, okay, but yes, it's under discussion item C.
That's fine. Do we have a second on that?
Yeah, we got a second. Any more discussion? Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
It's open. All approved.
Thank you. All right, next is item 10, the discussion presentation. We have Ms. Mitchell here from WCEA. Ms. Mitchell, if you want to come up.
Sorry, good evening. I'm running a little hoarse today, but hi, it's nice to see you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you this evening. My name is Danielle Mitchell, and I serve as the treasurer for the Washington County Education Association and also as their PECA chair. I know that you've probably received copies of the signatures or been made aware that we have submitted a petition containing signatures of Washington County educators in regards to collaborative conferencing. As this board knows, the Tennessee law recognizes that a collaborative relationship between the board and its professional employees will assist in the establishment and maintenance of an educational climate and working environment that will attract and retain highly qualified professional staff. Collaborative conferencing, or PECA as it's known, recognizes that the board and its teachers are work as a collaborative effort on matters relating to terms and conditions of professional employee service, and sets forth a process whereby we can work together to produce an agreement or a memorandum of understanding on issues such as salaries, insurance, and working conditions. We in Washington County are very fortunate that we've gone through this process with the district in the past, and we already have an existing memorandum of understanding, which is valid, and your ratification of our prior MOU, as it's called, affirms to educators in Washington County that you value our work and you value our opinions. So we appreciate that very much. We appreciate the opportunity that we've had to collaborate with you on matters that are essential to attracting and retaining highly qualified professional staff, so that together we can achieve the highest possible educational standards for our school district. So why am I here tonight with yet another round of signatures, since we've already been through this process before? Well, the answer is quite simple. The law puts the burden on the shoulders of educators to obtain those signatures every 3 years and to submit those signatures to you in a specific month, which is October. As the board knows, under the law, once this petition is submitted to you, the next step is a team of board members and professional employees to serve as a special question committee to set up conditions and particulars of conducting a poll of all eligible professional employees. The poll is, of course, confidential, and it's a vote by teachers about whether they would like to engage in collaborative conferencing, and in the past, the overwhelming answer has been yes. As the treasurer for the Washington County Association, I'm honored to be a part of that special question committee if the board sees fit as that goes. But I do want to say thank you so much for accepting the petition, and the Washington County Education Association looks forward to moving forward with you in this process. And I appreciate your time this evening. If there's any questions you think I can answer, I'm more than willing to try my best until my voice gives way. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Okay, up on her presentation, we will have to appoint a special questions committee, which is made up of the chair and two board members. And I will be selecting those here, and I'll have Mr. Boyd send it out to each one of you, the two I select. So.
But I would ask, just if you recognize the 3 professional educators that have been recommended to serve on the committee as well.
The board members?
Ms. Mitchell.
Oh, yes.
Tinsley and Mr. Harris and David Crockett.
Yes, okay.
Tinsley's at Silver Springs. Of course, Ms. Mitchell is at Grandview.
I didn't have that down. I apologize. Okay. All right, next is our student disciplinary decision appeal to the board. I think you all had time to review your packets, hopefully. And the board shall vote on one of the following actions: to uphold the decision on record, or to grant a new hearing. I'll open the floor up to the recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we uphold.
We have a motion, we have a second.
A second.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Jennifer, please.
Second. All approved.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is, Keith, the consideration to release bids to purchase or move the house that we purchased in Gray. Bids will be open December 1st. We have a motion to move forward.
So moved.
We have a second.
A second.
Discussion. Keith, did you have any?
No, I've left and I wondered what y'all done because I hadn't heard that.
I think basically we've decided to run it for 1 month, see if we can see anybody that wants the house to move it. Then from there, if there's no bids, then I'll bring it back up December meeting on the next step. Yeah.
That's just gonna include a signage.
Yeah, now, Jared, I don't know if you want to elaborate on it, but I know we're gonna put signage up and.
It would put signage, we'll put an ad in the paper, put some stuff on our website. I think there's also some like realty websites that we can just put it on there.
And since we're taking money for it, we're having to do a sealed bid, so we'll just do some bid openings for it.
The only problem I feel is a month's not long enough. I mean, I'd at least know the first of the year. That's the only thing. I mean, I just feel like that we got our hands full for December anyway and everything, so I guess, my opinion, I think we ought to wait
The end of the year.
the end of the year, 1st of January, set some kind of a time for sometime in January, because we got the holidays and everything, so I'll put that in a form of a motion, if somebody wants to support it. Okay.
We already have a motion.
Well,
You want an amendment?
Amendment.
All right, we have an amendment to the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Discussion. So basically what you're wanting to do is run this ad for 2 months
Yeah.
rather than 1 month?
Yeah, just let's put it out there and see, I mean, you know.
I would like to see us solicit directly to businesses that do house removal. So, you know, a lot of times when we put a bid out there, they don't see that.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we solicit to them,
Specific
actually
ones.
send them a bid, you know, we might get a little better response, because chances are they're not gonna see that.
And basically to a lot of realtors, it's, we can know, they may have clients that have the ability to move a house. So is that, Jared, is that something you could do for us?
Sir.
Any more discussion? All right, let's vote on the amendment, please, Jennifer.
Second.
So, can I ask that Jared go out there and decorate it for Christmas?
Take care of it.
Let
I didn't even ask you anything.
I'll get the
Come
great
back.
students to come do it. I've
Yeah.
got a volunteer right here, Max Whitting, can do it for us.
I think, yeah, Max.
It carried with one.
Thank you. Now, let's vote on the motion as amended, please.
girls basketball
You know
team's
what?
been doing
It's
that.
late.
All right, the motion is to put the house up for bids or sale or whatever for 2 months instead of 1 month.
Okay, this is for 2 months.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're to the end of the year. Jared, we did turn on some heat last few days, haven't we?
Yes, sir. It's up and running. Water's still on too.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Okay, next is our TISA accountability report. Mr. Boyd.
Thank you. The legislation was passed with the new funding formula, the TISA, that annually districts would be required to file an accountability report. This being the first year, this year's report's a little different than what the future years will be, but they all require us to list goals. One of them was prescribed. It had to be related to 3rd grade literacy. And actually the language was given to all school districts and what should be included in that goal. And we had listed that goal in literacy. We listed our goal in math, improve math achievement across all grade levels. And then a 3rd goal was on college readiness to improve our ready graduate percentage of students meeting or exceeding the standard for ready graduate in our high schools. We posted the document for public comment. We used Thought Exchange, which is a survey, online survey that allows not just someone to select, say if they agree or not, they also can give direct comment back, and then participants then can see other comments anonymously, see what the comments are, and then they can rate those. So we actually receive feedback in that format. And we had I included that for everyone's awareness. The public comment document that's included, it gives you a summary of what all things were said. Some things were very focused on what our plan was and what our request was, is their comments on that. And then we had some comments that had nothing to do with the plan. But, everybody's voice is important. We certainly won't ignore the comments that didn't relate to the survey, because there are some good information that we need to look at as a team. But this is a requirement for the board to approve. The difference next year, actually, we'll be expected to be more detailed in the actual how we funded things and then have evidence of how it, both did it have impact through test data and other data. So this is the first year, so it's much more simple than it will be in the future. And our goals we set align to our board strategic plan on what we're trying to do. We only had to carry it out to 3 years. We carried it out to 2030 with the idea that, our minimum expectation for achievement would be 70% success rate on third grade literacy and increase our college ratings significantly. Right now, it would be almost doubling it in that 7-year period, which is a goal that we should set. 100% is always the goal, but we have to take steps and do it in incremental steps.
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the TISA accountability report.
Have a second? Second. Discussion? Let's vote, please, Jennifer.
Voting's open. All agree.
Thank you. Next, I'll let Mr. Boyd go over a purchase order for Zach Johnson's Inspired Business.
Yeah, it's a group that we've been utilizing to furnish the new Jonesboro. And this is the use, Jonesboro's use of their Innovative Schools Model Grant, for the STEM career labs. So this is actually utilizing that grant funds to furnish their STEM lab at New Jonesboro Elementary School.
We have a motion.
Second.
Discussion. Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
Voting's open. All agree.
Thank you. Okay, next we have, under policy, we have several.
All these policies, as are noted, are on first reading. So this is just an introduction on first reading.
Any recommendation on, do you want to go each one, or can we group them?
I just have a question. Is any of them by state law, or are they all just stuff that we feel like that we need to change?
Some are recommended upgrades,
Right.
as far as like need to be immediately effective. I think going through the process of second reading is certainly can be done if that's what the board chooses without, bypassing that initial step.
Is there anything that you need immediately? Like you just said immediately, so that.
Well, I'm just
I feel
saying, we
that's-
don't have an immediate, sometimes
Okay.
especially when there's law changes, we need this to be effective
Right.
immediately. I believe, and Mr. Hill's not here, he had to leave, but, this one that was pulled up on bids, the first one, he's recommended because of, this is an overdue change, he just recommended to increase that from $1,000 to $2,500.
So,
For, to require the 3 quotes.
so if nobody has a problem with that, I'd like to pass that one, policy 2.806 on, to bypass first reading, pass it on second reading, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Just the one?
Just the one.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I second.
Now, discussion, Mr.
Well, I'm kindly, I don't want to move that, leave it at 1,000. I feel like we need to hold the reins in.
And normally I would agree with you,
Well,
but with stuff going up so high, the things that were under $1,000
Well, maybe we don't
is
need
now very underneath
maybe we don't
at
need
that
to do
point.
that. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it.
And just to make sure, to clarify that there's still approval process, it's just requiring
But
3
it's
bids.
2,500 instead of 1,000.
And, not requiring 3 bids for up to $2,500.
Right.
But there's still required approvals, both by me and Mr. Hill.
On second reading, because Brad needs
Well, I'm still,
it will pass it down.
Mr. Riddle?
I'm against it, so.
I'd like to amend the motion to include waiving first reading and pass on second reading for policy 4.704, 1.105, 1.701, 2.400, 2.601, 2.8051.
We have a motion, amendment motion to have a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
If you could go to policy for some verbiage change, wordage, policy 2.40, Jennifer. I just got to change a word. The CFO will work with each principal shall determine, maybe to determine.
Yeah, so the CFO probably shall work with each principal to determine the reconciliation.
Right, just to change that wordage.
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion? Let's vote on the amendment, please.
What is school district planning? What has changed on it before we vote?
There's some additional language added, and this is to update to match the language of just what you had passed with the TISA accountability report. So it's just adding the language to a policy that already exists that aligns with the TISA law.
My opinion, these policies is our guidelines, and I don't like passing them on second reading because we're changing things. Now, if it's state is telling us and it's their changes, then we have to obey it. But I feel like our policies is what we need to really go over, so.
In this particular policy, that language is because of the state law.
Yeah. So I don't like just grouping them all together and going.
Okay, we're gonna do a roll call. We're having a malfunction on our electronics. So we're gonna do a roll call vote, please, Jennifer.
Mr. Huddleston?
No.
That's on the amendment, right?
Yes. Was that yes?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
No.
Ms. Buchanan?
No.
Ms. Dellinger?
No.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. Masters?
Yes. That's a tie, so the goes to no.
Yeses and 4 noes.
Okay, let's vote on the original motion, which is to first reading and accept policy 2.806. Is that correct?
I want to do that one on second reading, so Brad could go ahead and
Yes,
get
that's
started
what
with
I'm
that. So,
Okay, and this is for just 2.806?
Yeah, to waive second reading.
To waive.
to waive first reading,
Waive first reading.
pass on second.
And the rest of it's all on first reading.
Yes.
Mr. Huddleston?
Is this just on the one, or is it?
This is to waive reading on policy 2.806 to second, and the rest of them's first readings.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. Walters?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Irvin?
No.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. Masters?
Yes.
Make that motion for the rest of them. I'll work them together.
We just did. We just did. We waived the first one and passed the other ones on the first.
Okay.
So it'll come back to second reading. Okay.
So it'll come back next.
Okay, next is the additional items that we needed to add. There was looks like, I'll have Mr. Boyd go over, looks like there's school nutrition and then the town of Jonesboro and an overnight trip request.
So in following the, school nutrition's replacement plan, there's some items to purchase. You'll see item 11A is equipment, hot pass-through at Grandview Elementary in the amount of $30,443.31.
Y'all want to go over each one or group them or?
I'd like to group the nutrition.
Okay, that should be 11, A, B, and C, looks like. You put that in form of a motion.
I'll put that in form of the motion.
We have a second discussion. And I take it all these coming out her.
Yeah, that's already discussed about using the fund balance and the
And there's
replacement plan.
some grant money in it too.
Right.
Yeah, and other funds.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
Second.
That's the sound of excitement.
Or are you still under it?
I think she may have
She's way
stepped up.
right.
Yeah.
Play some Jeopardy music.
Yeah. Of course, Whitney could reach over and.
Ghost voting.
It's tempting.
Talk to Dale Ford about that. Poor guy.
Waiting on you.
We're voting on item 11, A, B, and C, school nutrition for, looks like some grants and some equipment.
I'll agree.
Thank you. All right, item D, Mr. Boyd.
This is, just as a reminder, the board approved the contribution to the project, the matching funds for the town of Jonesboro and the new Jonesboro project for the playground equipment and that large grant that they were seeking. They have sent us an invoice for that $300,000, and this is what this purchase order is for those matching funds that have been approved by the board.
And the town of Jonesboro's, it was it 900,000 for the playground equipment?
I believe in the total of the 2.4 million, I think it was identified as about 900,000 for that.
We have a motion on this.
I'd like to make a motion to approve purchase order 1035.
Second.
Discussion. Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
Second. I'll agree.
Thank you. Overnight trip, Mr. Boyd.
I think this may be something Sophie referenced, but it's the TN All-East Honor Corps event, or Honor Choir event, I'm sorry. And Lee University is in Bradley County or Cleveland. As you can see, we got a group. This just came in, so this is an overnight request requiring board approval.
I make a motion that we allow this to go through and let our kids go sing and represent David Crockett.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I got a question. Boone's got students going there too. Do they made requests?
That's a good question. We'll have to follow that up on that with Danny Boone High School.
Because, we won't meet again until,
No.
but they're going.
Whether the board approves.
They already going.
You think they got pull over there, it's your daughter's on the,
No,
your board member, is that?
No, I didn't say
No,
that.
but if they're participating too, we'll make sure in worst case scenario, I'll send out the request polling the board for the specific item, so we officially address it through policy.
Okay.
It's a good catch, Dave.
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Let's vote, please.
Second.
Yes, sir.
Boone gets Mercedes.
I
I'll agree.
Since they may have been late in their submission,
They go forward.
We're gonna ride in the old man, the old.
Okay, then we have one item left that we added, request to release bids for school buses. Mr. Boyd, any elaboration on that, or?
well, I was gonna ask Dr. Adams. but-
Yeah, I was too, and then I see he stepped out.
But, as we know, the discussion was we had looked to purchase off of the state bid, but the feedback we've gotten from vendors is they have, just recommended that we go through our own bid process and might get better pricing than what's on the state bid. So that's the request to proceed with that bid process.
I'll make it in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Gas or propane or what are we buying?
Well, I mean, what was requested, the intent was to bid propane, but what was requested is we also include specs for diesel buses, so you have prices on it.
All right, any more
What,
discussion?
are there any reason we can't bid it out and see how much they are through the state bid?
We'll have that to compare when we get the bids back.
Okay. Both propane and,
We'll have that to compare based on the bids that we receive, because the state bids are there, available to us.
Any more discussion? Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
Lane's open.
Listen, so agree, okay.
Yes. I'll agree.
Thank you. Okay, only other thing I've got, just some dates to remember for this month. The 7th is school visits, South Central Lamar. 16th through the 19th is our Nashville Leadership Conference, and the 21st is our workshop / called meeting.
Yep.
Other than that, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Sophia, thank you.
Mr. Boyd,
Thank you.